And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the DoDcast Postgame. Yes, the audio is working tonight. We apologize for yesterday. I'm your host, co-editor Ricky Keeler, and got a lot to talk about tonight. The Mets take the series opener 7-5 over the Washington Nationals, and a rough end to this one. The Nats had bases loaded, nobody out in the bottom of the ninth, chance to win the game. Trey Turner strikes out, and then Bryce Harper, who had probably his worst night of the season, grounds into a 1-2-3 double play against Josh Edgin, which we'll get into that in a little bit. But the big story, and we're going to keep tab of it while we're here until Dusty Baker talks to the media, is Adam Eaton. Adam Eaton with first and third, nobody out, came to the plate, got an infield single, but hit the base at first awkwardly, fell down, was in a lot of pain, and needed help getting off the field. So it doesn't look like the Nats will, you hate to speculate, but it doesn't look like the Nationals going to have Adam Eaton for a while. And he's a huge part of this team. I mean, he is their prized offseason acquisition. They gave up that big haul of prospects, which right now only Dane Dunning has worked out. Dane Dunning's got promoted to high A today by the White Sox. But you hate to see that happen to Eaton. They need his bat in the lineup. And if he's out for an extended period of time, I don't know what else they can go. We can get into that as soon as we get more stuff on more news on this from Dusty Baker. We'll bring it to you here as soon as the media meets with him. Again, the Mets get the win and a big night at the plate for Travis d'Arnaud. 5 RBIs, a couple of home runs. He really was the difference in this game, as Max Scherzer didn't have it. But we want to hear from you. If you have any thoughts on this game, feel free to send it to the chat room here on the YouTube page. You can also tweet me on Twitter at Rickinator555 or tweet the site on Twitter at DistrictOnDeck. I'll take all your questions and comments and things of that nature within reason. Good pitching matchup on paper. Max Scherzer against Jacob deGrom, and don't think anybody was surprised. I won't think we would have been surprised about a great pitcher's duel. Both guys did not look sharp early. Scherzer, we mentioned, gave the 2-run shot to deGrom in the second, went 449 feet. And he had a rough time at the bottom of the order tonight. TJ Rivera and Travis d'Arnaud were excellent in this game. Nats fight back with 3 more in the second. Ryan Zimmerman a solo shot to right. Then Matt Wieters hits one to dead center after deGrom walked Rendon. So the Nats took the lead there. But Scherzer all night just didn't have fastball command. And we can talk about this a little bit in breakdown with Scherzer's night. I don't have the numbers from ESPN, and usually they're great with first pitch breakdowns and things of that nature. I'll try to pull it up for you. It felt like all night Scherzer did not have great command of his fastball. And when he's a guy that likes to throw a lot of strikes, you want him to throw strike one in there, because if he gets behind 2-0, the opponent is going to know fastball down the pipe is coming. And here's the line on Scherzer. 6 innings, 5 runs, 9 hits, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 97 pitches, 66 strikes. 16 first pitch strikes out of 27 batters, which I guess is higher than I thought, because deGrom had that same percentage. To me, it felt like Scherzer had a lot lower than the 16. He relied on his off-speed stuff a lot to get strikes, and it worked on occasion. He did get a lot of strikeouts with the breaking ball and the slider. The fastball's just not there, and the Mets have done a nice job anticipating the fastball and getting big swings. d'Arnaud needed a big series. I mean, he was coming into this game, I think, 0 for 16. Now, I was watching on SNY. So if Bob and FP said something different on this game, feel free to share that as well. I'm from New York, so I get the SNY feed. But an excellent job by d'Arnaud to get some good swings on there. And the Mets just played different tonight. I mean, they're a team that can rely on the long ball, but they did a good job stealing some bases. I mean, they had 12 hits. They stole 4 bases in this game. Cabrera had 2, Rivera had 1, and Reyes had 1. The Mets don't steal a lot of bases. Normally, you look at this match and think the Nationals be the ones stealing the bases on d'Arnaud, but the Mets did that to Wieters tonight, and that was a little bit surprising. But they had a different chip on their shoulder. Terry Collins was trying to give his speech yesterday after they lost to the Braves and everything going on there. So you could understand the Mets would come out with a purpose. This is Max Scherzer, by the way. I looked this up via Baseball Reference during the game. This is only his 7th loss against an NL East team since 2015. That's pretty good. He does a nice job against this division. But tonight just wasn't his night. He at least got you through 6. This was not a good night for him. And he's going to have nights like this. That's just the way he is as a pitcher. He's still one of the best in the game. There's no reason not to trust him. Just a bad night. Sometimes that happens. And the Nats, I think, ran into a great pitcher at Jacob deGrom. DeGrom had a fastball to 98 at times. He was throwing strikes like crazy. He had in total 77 strikes out of 112 pitches, 7 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, 12 strikeouts, 1 walk, third straight outing of 10 or more strikeouts. He was just dominant today. And I think as Chris talks about here, they had to adapt Cespedes, a major source of power in their lineup. And yes, that's true. And I talked about it during the game. They look a lot different without Cespedes, and they're going to get Duda back. He's on rehab assignment right now. So the Mets are going to look a little differently these 2 games, and then we'll see what happens when the Nats play them again. I think it's in June at Citi Field, but the Mets are going to have to play different. They're going to need guys to step up. And so the Nationals, I don't think did a good job against the bottom of that lineup. Rivera, as I said, played well, and Jordan played well. So the Mets, they got ahead early. And then the 8th inning, it was surprising to see Jacob Turner on the mound. Albert Perez pitches a good 7th inning, gets out of a jam. Turner had just started a few days ago. Now, you would think Jacob Turner was up here for Joe Ross. And sometimes when you look at this game, I don't get the decision to use Turner. It tells me Dusty doesn't trust Blake Trinan. It tells me Joe Blanton's a mess. Sean Kelly's the closer, but when does Sean Kelly get in the games in a closing situation anymore? And that's a problem. I point this out during the game. I've said this a lot on the DoDcasts. The Nationals don't have a closer problem, in my opinion. Their problem is they don't have anybody behind the closer. I had a conversation with somebody on Twitter about, they were telling me that they don't have roles. Here's the problem. Nobody's pitched well enough to earn a role. You're at square one with this bullpen. Like, your best relievers, as I keep saying, besides the closer, are Matt Albers and Oliver Perez. And you're not going to win win a postseason series or get very far in October with that kind of bullpen. And if those guys are going to struggle, you got Austin Adams pitching well in AAA. You got Joe Nathan. You've got guys, Matt Grace, who just went down the other day, that can at least deserve a shot. It's time for these guys to start pitching to their baseball cards. It really is, and it's getting frustrating to watch these guys. Eddie Romero, I thought, did a good job in the 9th inning. He did hit 100 miles an hour, which we're used to seeing from him. So that's no surprise. But the Nationals did fight back and give them their credit. They've been doing that a lot this year. Down 7-3 in the 8th inning. Jerry Blevins started the 8th after deGrom went 7 innings. He got Eaton the line out, the Trey Turner single, a Bryce Harper strikeout, and it was surprising to see Terry Collins go to Addison Reed against Ryan Zimmerman. Blevins does an excellent job against the Nationals. And Reed comes in. Zimmerman hits the first pitch over the wall in right center, his 10th of the season. And again, you wonder if Eric Thames wasn't having this great month, Ryan Zimmerman could be your April player of the month in the National League. And I don't think anybody would have predicted that. He hits a 2-run shot. Crowd goes crazy. And Zimmerman had the 2 home runs, but he also had a bad night in the field. He stepped off the bag in the 8th inning, which kind of helped the Mets get those 2 runs. And then he makes a throwing error in the 9th on a pickoff throw by Romero, which luckily didn't cost the Nats any runs in that situation. But all in all, it's up and down night for Zimmerman, but you'll take the 2. If he's going to have bad nights in the field, you take the 2 home runs with it. Then you have the bottom of the 9th, and we'll talk about this a little bit. Jeurys Familia's in the game, and you know what Jeurys Familia, things get interesting when he comes in the game. His saves are never 1, 2, 3 more often than not. And he has not picked up a save yet this year, I believe. Wieters gets a single. Adam Lind a pinch hit single. Joe Ross, great heads-up base run to go 1st to 3rd. I was impressed by that. So he brings in Taylor to pinch run for Lind, and then you have the situation with Eaton. I don't blame Ross for not trying to score on that. That was a tough play to navigate, and he doesn't have great speed. So Eaton gets on, loads the bases. Trey Turner gets fooled by Familia, and then this is another one that the Mets fan would second-guess, and Terry Collins would get totally blamed for if it didn't work out, but I agreed with it. You got to take Familia out of the game. He did not have the location working. His sinker was the Nats were laying off of it. And Harper has bad numbers against the Mets left-handers. He has bad numbers against Blevins. Smoker he just got to last week, and Edgin was 2 for 11 again. So Terry goes to Edgin, and Harper hits into a 1-2-3 double play to the top of 3 strikeouts. Not a great night for Harper at all. And that's how this game ended. And it was one of those games where you wonder how the Nationals could have done anything differently. They did not get big hits early in the game. Zimmerman lined into a double play in the third. He hit the ball hard off DeGrom. So let me say that. He at least did that in this game. But they just were only 2 for 6 with men in scoring position. They left 7 on base. Mets were 2 for 11. So while we wait for Dusty Baker to make his comments, Noah Syndergaard is going to pitch Sunday against Joe Ross. So right now, if you go by on paper, the Mets have the edge in this series. Yes, Syndergaard is coming off the biceps tendonitis, but Joe Ross didn't show you anything on Tuesday that was worth trusting him going forward. Maybe it's just Coors Field. Again, I don't know, but I would take Syndergaard over Ross any day of the week and twice on Sunday. So it's not surprising. Chris brought up a good point here. This was the first game this season where Harper looked average at the plate, which says something. Yeah, it does. Again, it's not something where I totally blame Bryce Harper for. He had a rough night. Everybody has rough nights. I think it's fair to criticize when he does, and just not one of those nights. So again, we'll wait for Baker here. Big point in this one. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talk about Victor Robles. Victor Robles is hurt, first of all. So it's not going to be Victor Robles. By the way, Rising Apple asks, why isn't JT Tehran on the show tonight? Simple. JT wasn't invited to the show tonight. But I would love, hey, JT wants to hop on. We'll have him hop on right now. Not fine by me. We are 2-0, by the way, in DoDcast guest postgame shows. So maybe we should do more of them. We've been thinking about that. But no, we again follow Rising Apple. Those guys are great. We have fun tweeting with them all night. So definitely check that out. Check their site out on Fansided. Also, check out the Wizards site, Wiz of Oz. Wizards won tonight in Atlanta, so it'll be Wizards Celtics Sunday afternoons. That should be a lot of fun. And the Capitals, of course, lost last night to the Penguins. Game 2's tomorrow night, so Stars and Sticks follow them. Both Washington teams in the second round. Maybe that means something for the Nationals this year. Maybe they'll make the second round for once. But good signs going on in the rest of Washington sports. Keep checking the Twitter here, see what's going on with Eaton. I'm sure Ron's going to keep me up to date on what's going on with that. Do we get a little word here? Still looking. So let's go some minor league scores while we wait here. Let's start in AAA, where Syracuse lost to Norfolk 7-4. AJ Cole, rough night for him in this one. 4 2/3, 6 earned runs on 8 hits, struck out 2 and walked 3 on 81 pitches. Just a rough night for Cole at the plate. The mound, excuse me. Good night for Syracuse hitting-wise. Rafael Bautista had 2 hits. Brian Goodwin had 2 hits. Clint Robinson had 2 hits. 2 more RBIs for Matt Scola in this game. He's been hitting the ball better of late. So the Chiefs dropped to 8-11 on the season. Harrisburg with a nice win in Altoona, 6-5. Andrew Stevenson, 3 hits at the top of the order. Rowdy Reed had 3 hits and a couple RBIs. So good game for him. Senators were 6 for 14 with men scoring position. The win to Mark Blackmar, 3 runs, 8 hits over 6 innings. He struck out 2. And Ryan Brindley picked up his 3rd save of the season. Senators now go to 10-9. Down in Salem, Potomac, which you can watch that series, by the way, against Salem, MILB.TV. Watched a little bit of that earlier today. The Peanuts lost to Salem 6-2, your final score. Taylor Gushu had both RBIs. He's up to 17 ribbies this year. Good start for him, hitting 302. Ian Sagdahl had a multi-hit game. The loss goes to Joan Baez. 6 runs on 3 hits. He walked 5 and struck out 4 for 4 1/3. He drops to 0-3. And Hagerstown blown out by Lexington 16-4. You had a home run by Daniel Johnson this game, his 6th of the season. He's having a great start, but the problem was the Legends, just too much firepower in this game. A rough night for Carlos Pena, gave him 10 runs in 2 2/3 innings. You had a guy on their team in Lexington, Chris DeVito, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs in this game. So the Suns lose. They go to 13-9. Still a good start for them so far this season. So that's your update around the minor leagues. a lot going on. We're hoping to get you some more minor league interviews over the next few weeks. And the update will go from Dan Coco here from Mass and Nats. Don't know much yet on Eaton's status. We'll go in for an MRI tomorrow. Dusty acknowledged it does not look good. So there's your update. And I would think I would not be surprised if Adam Eaton is out for a long time. And what's up, Al? How's it going? You got the 10-day DL. Again, you hate to speculate on these kind of things, but I would think the 10-day DL is more likely. To me, the option, you have Michael Taylor, but Michael Taylor, last couple of years, has had chances to play and has not capitalized. The guy I would take a look at, if you want to keep the whole speed thing going, in that spot, what about Rafael Bautista? I think he's done a nice job, at least in terms of the speed portion of the game. The question will be in that situation, he has not made his major league debut yet, so maybe they go with Brian Goodwin. They could, I think. Snyder can't play center. I think that's really the problem. Do you slide Trey? I don't think you slide Turner back to center. I don't think you can do that either. Heisey doesn't play a lot of center. So, I mean, you're looking at a lot of Michael A. Taylor, and he's going to have to hit. Period. I mean, this is real. I would think if you're the Nationals, this is Michael Taylor's last shot. If he can't prove it, I don't know what they can do with him. I really don't, because it's frustrating when you watch the Nationals in Colorado get all these runs. Michael Taylor's having trouble getting hits. And FP said it the other day, if you can't get hits in Coors Field, you're a AAA guy. I'm paraphrasing, but I think that's what FP said the other day as I was watching that. So not exactly what you want to see tonight. It was a rough game for the Nationals. It ended on a rough note, and you hope Adam Eaton's okay. Obviously, he's going to be out a while. You hope for their sake that he's not out for a really long time, because he changed this offense. I mean, you have two table setters at the top of the lineup, and the problem is we never got a chance to see Eaton and Turner both on the bases. Like, I think when you watch the Nationals, they don't run a lot. Like, you saw Worth and Wieters double steal yesterday, but I want to see that more from Eaton and Turner. Like, I can make up the point that Turner doesn't steal a lot of bases, but maybe now that Trey goes back to the leadoff spot, maybe that speed portion comes back. Now, I can't to criticize Trey because he's hitting the ball so well. He had another hit tonight. But I want to see Turner steal bags. I mean, that's really what – I'm not paying him to hit home runs, really. I'm paying him to steal bases. And I think that they need that speed portion back in the lineup. Now, maybe what do you do at the second spot? Do you put Jason Worth there, who's having a rough couple of weeks since coming back from that, I think he called it a hamstring injury. I know he didn't want to call it a groin injury, but been a rough. Worth had a rough night too. 3 strikeouts. I thought in the 8th inning he had a bad at bat trying to hit a home run instead of just getting a hit for first and third against Reed. So he needs to step up. Do you put Rendon in the 2 spot? But Rendon right now has only had 2 extra base hits all season. Do you slide Harper up to 2? I think Dusty's going to have to be really creative with how he gets this lineup going. He's got a lot of options. And as Ron pointed out, I mentioned earlier, it is Noah Syndergaard on Sunday. He did have he did throw today before the game and like a catch. And it sounds like he's ready to go. So not great news for the Nationals all around. Let's take a look around the division before we look at tomorrow's game. Right now, the Brewers are beating the Braves 8-7. That game in the top of the 8th inning. Wild one there in Milwaukee. I don't think Eric Thames has a home run in this game, which he does not. Brewers have hit 3 home runs, though. Bartolo Colon, a rough night on the mound. Atlanta's had RBIs, 3 of them from Ender Inciarte and 3 of them from Matt Kemp. But they are down 1, but they have a man on in the top of the 8th against Milwaukee. Phillies are on the West Coast. They're in L.A. They actually just got on the board. Freddie Galvis with an RBI against Kenta Maeda. So Philadelphia scoring first against the Dodgers tonight. And in Miami, rough night for the Marlins. They lose 12-2 to the Pirates. Adam Conley lasts an inning and 2/3, gives up 9 runs on 5 hits. Pirates only hit 1 home run, so they scored 12 runs, but they only hit 1 homer. Good for them. RBIs from Martin Prado and Giancarlo Stanton for the Marlins, so they are 10-11. So that's your look around the division. I won't give you many other scores here. I usually like to keep it in the division, so I'll keep it at that. I could bring up one score that Ron knows I would want to bring up right now, but I'm not going to do it. So let's look at that. Yep, Chris is the one that brings it up. So since Chris brought up in the chat, yep, the Yankees were down 11-4 against Baltimore and won 14-11 in 10 innings on a walk-off Matt Holliday home run. So there you go. Ron also said Terry Collins saw something in Familia's mechanics. Familia's had a rough go of it since coming back. Maybe it's just adjusting to pitching again. But again, I think Terry made the right call. You had to go to edge in there. And even if Harper had a walk-off home run or a walk-off double or something, I still say Terry would have made the right call. Familia hasn't shown you anything that makes you think he's getting the job done right now. So the Mets get the win 7-5. So here is the finals. Bautista, Andrew Stevenson, I'm not sure. I think he still has a ways to go. He's hitting the ball well in Double-A, but you really like to see a guy go from Double-A to the majors. That's a tough one. The guy I would keep an eye on is Bautista if Eaton goes in the DL. I think that would be a good fit. But tomorrow's pitching matchup, 1:05 Eastern, you catch it on MASN 2, MLB Network if you're out of Washington, D.C. or New York. Also 106.7, the Fan will have it. Zach Wheeler goes for the Mets, 1-2 with a 5.40 ERA. Against Steven Strasburg, who's back from paternity leave. And again, congrats to the Strasburg family. 2-0 with a 2.89 ERA. Strasburg, again, hasn't pitched in a while, but he's looked good this season. He has good numbers against the Mets. Last year was undefeated against New York. I wrote about that in District on Deck earlier this morning. His last start in 2015, he struck out 13 guys against New York. So he's got the good numbers, and they need him to go deep in this game. As for Wheeler, he had a rough first inning last Sunday. We had the DoDcast combo postgame show that night, and he allowed the grand slam to Murphy, but give Wheeler credit. He throws 97. He has good off-speed stuff. He got through 7 innings. This is not going to be an easy series. Colorado might have been easy because they don't have the arms the Mets have, but you look at Wheeler and Syndergaard, not an easy now without Eaton probably for this series at least. It's going to be a tough go of it for the Nats offense. And again, we talked about it last night, or at least I did when the audio didn't work. So I'll bring up the point again. When they slump, just go back to the offense can score 40 runs in 3 games and don't go panicky over it. At least we'll try not to. So that's your pitching matchup. Wheeler and Strasburg tomorrow afternoon. Ron will be with you for the live tweeting. I have the post game, so I will be back here with you guys tomorrow afternoon. And then Ron has you Sunday. Nats have the day off, and then they'll be hosting the Diamondbacks for a 3-game series. That should be fun. Nats got a lot of outside division matchups in April and May, which is good. Mets, by the way, have not played anybody out of the division yet. I wonder how bored they are of that by now. But regardless, what about the name brought up, Angel Pagan? Kind of said he probably won't play this year. And you would have to start him in the minors anyway. I don't think you're going to call Pagan up to hit right away. But again, we have to see what the Adam Eaton injury is first. So that's a big storyline. We'll keep you all up to date tomorrow, I'm sure. I think Ron has something on that tomorrow, or Drew, one of our writers, has something. So we'll have you all up to date on the Adam Eaton news. Again, follow Rising Apple for Mets coverage as well. Good stuff on the fan-sided. Again, Mets win 7-5. Jacob deGrom gets the win. He goes to I'm looking for the thing because I had tomorrow's score line open. But Jacob deGrom gets the win. Max Scherzer takes the loss. And the save goes to Josh Edgin. So if you had Josh Edgin getting the save tonight, as Ron likes to say, you get a cookie. DeGrom goes to 1-1 with a 2.84 ERA. Scherzer now 3-2 with a 2.94 ERA. I'm sure he'll be happy to not face the Mets again next time around because he gives up a lot of home runs to the Mets. And yes, Chris will be previewing our Diamondback series. So that should be a lot of fun. Thanks to all you guys for tuning in tonight. It was a lot of fun. But again, the Nats come up short, and we'll wait more word on the Adam Eaton injury tomorrow. So for all of us in District on Deck, for Ron Jeckett and our entire team, I'm Ricky Keeler saying enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll see you again tomorrow afternoon after the afternoon contest between Zach Wheeler and Steven Strasburg.